fact about him is that his caretaker at his primary school was Liam Neeson's dad. Because it's like the man who danced with whatever. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Noel Curry!
Just a little warning, there are giant insects and a bit of brain sucking in this slideshow. So, hit it. Okay, this evening I'd like to talk to you about the film Starship Troopers and explain why it's not just a dumb giant insect space war B movie, but actually a satire on fascism that makes some prescient predictions about our post 9/11 world. So cast your mind back to 1997, when Paul Verhoeven, the director of the bleakly comic RoboCop and the over-the-top sci-fi epic Total Recall, was about to release his criminally underrated masterpiece onto the world. It concerns a trio of young people who, in order to gain citizenship in a pro-fascist futuristic society, have to join the military and then get involved in Earth's war with the bug planet Klendathu. It's very loosely based on Robert Heinlein's controversial book of the same name from the 50s. It was initially rejected by its publishers because it was seen as promoting militarism and fascism, although Verhoeven himself said he only read a couple of chapters. Critical reaction was not great. A jaw-dropping experience so rigorously one-dimensional and free from even the pretense of intelligence, it's hard not to be astonished and even mesmerised by what is on screen. He liked it. The Starship Troopers is exactly what Star Wars would have looked like if Germany had won World War II. What the critics failed to realise was that Verhoeven was just taking the piss out of fascism in a massive way and actually making a strong statement about how war makes fascists of us all. He had previously spoken about an idea for a film where he would follow a group of young people who get excited about a new government and then join the military to defend this regime when they feel it's under threat, only to reveal that the regime is actually Nazi Germany in the 1930s. He realised he would never actually get anyone to fund this film, but he recognised that Starship Troopers gave him an opportunity to slip this very subversive idea into a big-budget, mainstream Hollywood film. Next slide, please. He kind of culled his cast from American soap operas. They look a bit like they've come from Aryan Casting Direct. And he didn't want good actors because he felt that they would clue the audience into the central joke of the film. He actually wanted wooden actors. And they references the Third Reich start at the very top of the film that opens with a newsreel that copies compositions from Leni Riefenstahl's notorious Nazi propaganda film Triumph of the Will. And as our heroes join the military, we begin to notice slight similarities between their uniform and the uniform of an army that may have marched across Europe at the behest of a small shouty man with a silly moustache. Also, the newsreels that feature in the film capture that idea of wartime propaganda that masquerades as information, but actually it just serves to dehumanize the enemy, justify the government's policies, and pump the nation full of jingoism. But what I think is really remarkable about this film is not its satire on fascism, but the predictions it's made about the world we live in now during our current war on terror. In the film, it's very obvious that the bugs aren't the aggressors and just reacting to human incursions. But when a meteor lands on Buenos Aires, the Earth claims this was launched by the bugs and uses it as a pretext to launch a retaliatory strike against their planet. But as the film itself reveals, the idea that kind of primitive giant bugs would be able to launch a rock literally thousands of millions of miles across space and hit a city on Earth is pretty ridiculous. So using a disaster that your enemy wasn't involved in as a pretext to launch a war whilst claiming that this enemy is barbaric, but also has advanced military technology, sound at all familiar? Then we also have a news agency that continually distorts the facts, willfully misrepresents the enemy, and continually promotes the government's policies and lying. Again, it sounds a little bit familiar. Chuck in mistreatment of prisoners, use of shock and awe and the kind of commitment to a seemingly never-ending war, and it starts to feel like the plot of this film could have been lifted directly from today's headlines. So this is why I feel like this is a classic anti-war film, fit to take its place against the great anti-war films of our age. And in addition to all this, you also get to see a very young Hank from Breaking Bad, in the words of Marty McFly. Jesus Christ, didn't that guy ever have hair? And also, the most annoying character in the film gets his brains sucked out by an enormous bug. You don't get that in Schindler's List.